Booyah!
So let's talk about the NFL a little bit, since we're all talking about that, or wanting to talk about that. Here in Indianapolis, we're in the middle of a massive transition. Obviously, Jim Irsay passed away 2 weeks ago. Rest in peace to him, and thank you to him for everything that he did for the city.
Thank you, Jim.
And for the Colts. So many things behind the scenes that nobody will ever learn about, and I'm sure his family members don't even know about, because Jim Irsay would literally just watch the news, see a story, and then he would have Pete Ward go and try to take care of it. And then he would tell the person, don't say anything, because there's, big tax stuff and everything else that could potentially happen. So just kind of keep it behind closed doors. Don't want to out anybody for anything, but that's literally how Jim Irsay operated here in Indianapolis. So he passes on the team to his 3 daughters. And we all wonder to ourselves, yes, these 3 ladies have grown up in the league. They've grown up around some of the greatest of all time at all the key positions in the sport of football and in the league of the NFL. When you talk about quarterbacking, they've had Peyton Manning here, they've had Andrew Luck here, they've had Bruce Arians here, they've had Clyde Christensen here, and the girls have been around all of them, talked to all of them, hopefully learned from them. When you talk about front office, well, Bill Polian was around for a lot of their developmental years, where they were able to ask questions and learn from Bill Polian, who's a Hall of Famer in the general managing. And then I just mentioned a guy named Pete Ward. Pete Ward has been the CEO of the Indianapolis Colts, or the president of the Indianapolis Colts, since they got here in Baltimore, has handled so many different deals and negotiations and seen the league come from one thing into this mega league that it is today. So when you talk about 3 girls that are potentially ready for the opportunity, I think the Irsay daughters would certainly be ready for the opportunity. But we have no idea how it's going to go. We saw one particular quote get sent around via Twitter, and basically everything they're saying right now is about how they're expecting to be the best. They're expecting this team to be great. They're expecting everything to get better than what it was. And she also talked about how some people have maybe made fun of her for wearing a headset on the sideline and have a play sheet on her arm, and how she's been in different various things. Her quote about that was, "How do you know who's making the mistake if you don't know what the hell is going on?" She basically said, I was wearing that headset so I could learn how these things all take place. She didn't play football growing up. She didn't get an opportunity to be in the huddle or in the meeting rooms, and she has tried to take every opportunity to catch up on all the information. She said sometimes people will say a wide receiver ran the wrong route. Well, what if actually the wide receiver was tagged the wrong route, and it wasn't the wide receiver's fault, it was either the quarterback's fault or the offensive coordinator's fault? She's been on the headset for the last 3 years. There's been a lot of people that have questioned it. But all she's done is taken notes, realized what people have done, gone to meetings, try to learn everything about it, so that when she inevitably becomes the owner like she is today, she can be confident in her role. Here's her speaking about the standard of the Indianapolis Colts, and I want to let the Irsay daughters know, the owners of the Colts, I love what you're doing here early to set the precedent.
Mike, we are very confident. Having said that, I think, as my dad said before he passed, Chris and Shane know that they have things they need to fix. And, we talked about not micromanaging people, but also we have a standard here and it hasn't been good enough. And, winning is great, but I would even take it a step further in saying, we're really committed to being the best. And if we're the best, we will win games. And I think Chris and Shane are totally capable of doing that, and we're confident that they can.
I love what she's saying. Listen, we want to be the best. We don't just want to be good. We don't just want to win games. We want to be the best. Chris and Shane know that they need to do better. What did you hear there, Darius J. Butler?
Like you said, it was a little more to the quote that I heard at least, and just her speaking out on what the standard is. Obviously, the standard is championships, and the long-term commitment, I don't think she made any long-term commitment to Shane and Chris. I think they get it done as well. But look, it's standard is a standard. You got to get it done. This city is looking for another championship and looking for to contend. Pat talked about the great quarterbacks that we have here. We haven't figured that quarterback situation out since Andrew Luck left. So that's step number 1. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. But they've been getting prepared. My last year playing here was 2017, and Carlie was very hands-on then. So I'm sure she's more than prepared to take on this role. And they've made some great moves this offseason. They really opened up the checkbook, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Brought in Danny Dimes to compete. Starting quarterback job. We'll see how that works. Drafted Tyler Warren. I'm super, super happy about that. Got some great pieces on the outside. Jonathan Taylor, one of the best backs in the league. So I'm excited right now. It is June, but I am excited about the Colts' future for sure.
Made a lot of moves on the defensive side.
Yes.
And I think what you hear from Carlie there about the expectation of being the best sounds like she's going to be willing to pay, though, too, right?
Yes.
Like anytime you hear an ownership say these types of things, it's like, all right, that's going to fall on your shoulders as well. well on how we're able to get these contracts done. Feels like they're ready to go all in.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. It was like, hey, listen, this is our money. This is our family's money. Like, I want to know if we're the coaches and the GMs that we're paying millions and millions and millions of dollars to. Like, I want to make sure we have the right guys. I'm not just gonna listen. I understand that I didn't, grow up in the football world, or I haven't been a coach, or whatever the case may be. But it's like, hey, we're not just gonna throw money willy-nilly around and be okay with that, and just let a guy lose year after year after year. So a little accountability, it was awesome to hear.
Yeah, and I talk about how Mackenzie's got some stuff to say too. She can't censor herself. She's going to wait until it's just a digital.
Sure.
Smart. Really let some things fly.
Early. She's going to be ready.
Yeah, she does. She can play the piano a little bit. She bats on it. But whenever you talk about and this might be the wrong way to look at it, but I think whenever there's a new ownership or new management or anything like that, everything they do is setting a precedent. Everybody is watching everything that they're doing. Players, agents, coaches, front office, other teams, everything they say and do is going to be magnified because it's the first time they're doing anything. A guy exits the front office shortly after Carlie gets in there. She starts talking about standards and what she wants. It's like, I think these are all great precedents that are being set by the Irsay girls who now take over the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying all of the right things. Like when new ownership, and it's not exactly like new ownership because they were born and raised in all this, so they know what to do. Their dad taught them a lot, but they're saying all the right things. And I think setting the precedent and saying that, Chris and Shane Steichen, it hasn't been perfect yet. They believe in them. They said the same thing about AR. His start hasn't been great yet, but they said they show belief. They're not giving up on anybody yet, but they're saying hey, the clock is ticking. We need to get this done now.
There's a couple times where Carlie was giving an answer as Mackenzie has exited the stage. Good job, pretty girl. Yeah, give herself a round of applause. She's awesome. That is so cool. Anytime I get to see her. What did you just mention there?
About how they said, hey, AR, Shane, Chris, it hasn't been great so far, but we still have hope in them.
Yeah, so when she was talking at the press conference, you saw her, there was a couple times where she could have went one way or she went another way.
Yep.
And it was like you see her trying to figure out, do I bury here or do I take high road? Or how do I word this particular high road? Because everything is magnified now.
Yep.
She's been doing media for the last few years. She's been at the owners' meetings for the last few years. Whenever you're the official owner, you could be the owner, which I think they all were alongside Jim Irsay. I think it was the family. But now that you're the acting owner, she's the one from the Colts in the room. It's feels like she's done everything she possibly could to be prepared. Got a lot of...
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
That guy's fired up.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's Engine 11?
That's firefighters.
Fire department.
Hey, we appreciate you. Hey, Engine 11, I like that. Good call.
Let's go.
Good line there. It feels like she is, and she's a lawyer, I think, originally. So we're talking about a big brain.
Intelligent.
Yeah, talking about a big brain. All the girls, obviously, big brains. But, I think her willingness to want to learn. But there's a lot of people that want them to fail.
For sure.
I mean, I was looking at the internet. There's a lot of people that want, they might be fake people on the internet, might be bots. I think
there's a lot of fake stuff on the internet.
Yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot of things being said in the same fashion by a lot of different accounts, seemingly much regular basis now than it had in the past on the internet. But nonetheless, there's people that are going to want them to fail. I think they know that as well. I think they understand the position they're in, and I think they're excited for it, Colin.
Well, and if you're some of the players on the team too, we're talking about them talking about Chris and Steichen, but if you're a player on the team that's been paid, you might have been comfortable last year, but now that there's new ownership and they're talking about getting, possibly having changes if things don't get better, then if you're Jonathan Taylor, I won't go there with Pittman, but if you're some of those guys who are vets, who are Ballard's guys, I mean, you guys talk about it all the time. They bring in a new GM. That GM's going to want his own guys in there. So even if you're one of those dudes who's been paid and you feel like you're an established vet and you're safe, that's just not the reality. So you also have to ball out.
I mean, you talk about new GMs and how they operate. I just broke some Colts record, went into free agency. I was told by the new GM at the time, there is no loyalty between us. I did not draft you. And it's like, I thought I did pretty good. I did okay, but I understand there is an arrest, there is a mugshot.
Cold world.
There are some tweets. I could see where you're coming from, but with that being said, I like this place.
That was pretty good.
You were in an office somewhere else whenever all that was happening, but they do. They have their own vision of the team. Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen, a lot of pressure this year. I think that's how we like it, but I think there's also a lot of high hopes because there's a lot of talent on that roster, and the Irsay family has paid a lot of people on that roster. So for them to continue to not make the playoffs and be a winning organization, I think we'll see that change.